You know her. The girl who can walk into almost any profession and somehow make it work. One year, she's studying something completely different. The next year, she's working in a field no one expected. Then suddenly, she's good at that too. People look at her and say, she's talented. She's lucky. She just figures things out. But something about her story feels different. Because it's not just skill. It's not just intelligence. There's something deeper driving her. Something quiet, but powerful. And if you've ever felt like you could be good at many things, but never fully understood why, this is going to feel uncomfortably familiar. Because here's the truth no one really talks about. A girl who can work in multiple professions isn't just flexible. She's been trained by life to become whoever she needs to be. And that ability comes with a hidden cost. Let's start with a simple story. She grows up like most people. Nothing extremely dramatic. Nothing obviously painful. Just small moments, repeated over time. At school, she notices which version of her gets appreciated. The quiet one, praised. The outspoken one, sometimes too much. The helpful one, loved. The confused one, ignored. So she adjusts. At home, she learns something else. Be responsible. Be understanding. Don't create problems. So she adjusts again. With friends, she becomes lighter. Fun. Easygoing. With strangers, more careful. Polite. Different environments. Different expectations. And slowly, without realizing it, she builds a skill most people overlook. She learns how to read people. She learns how to read situations. And most importantly, she learns how to adjust herself accordingly. Now pause for a second. Really think about this. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like you needed to change something about yourself? Your tone, your energy, your words. Not because someone told you to, but because you just knew? If yes, you already understand her. Fast forward a few years. She's older now, and life demands choices. What do you want to become? It sounds simple, but for her it's not. Because she doesn't see just one path. She sees many. And here's the interesting part. She doesn't just imagine them. She can actually do them. Give her structure, she performs. Give her creativity, she adapts. Give her pressure, she survives. So she tries different things. And each time, she learns fast. Because learning a skill is easy for someone who has spent years learning people. This is where psychology comes in. But let's keep it real, not complicated. Her brain has been trained to adapt. Not in a textbook way, in a survival way. She became observant early, emotionally aware, flexible. So when she enters a new profession, she doesn't just focus on the work. She studies the environment. What works here? How do people behave? What is expected, even if it's not said? And then, she becomes that. Not fake, just adjusted. And that's why she succeeds in multiple professions. Because she doesn't just learn tasks. She learns systems. She learns dynamics. She learns people. But here's where things start to get complicated. Because this strength doesn't always feel like a strength. Inside, there's often a quiet conflict. She can do many things, but she doesn't always know which one is truly hers. Pause again. Ask yourself this honestly. If you removed expectations, removed pressure, removed the need to prove anything, what would you choose? Not what you're good at, not what others admire, what actually feels like you. For her, that question isn't easy. Because for years, she wasn't choosing who to be. She was responding, adapting, becoming what was needed. And when you do that long enough, you start losing the line between who I am and who I can be. Let's look at real life. There's a girl who worked in marketing. She was great at it. Creative, strategic, confident. Then she moved into teaching. And suddenly, she was just as good, patient, clear, inspiring. Later, she started freelancing. Different work, different rhythm. Still, she adapted. People admired her journey. She's so versatile. She's fearless. But they didn't see her late nights thinking, why do I feel restless, even when I'm doing well? Another example, a girl who keeps switching paths, not because she fails, but because she succeeds and still feels something missing. She becomes a designer, then a manager, then starts her own thing. Each version of her works, but none of them feel complete. And that confuses people. But here's the truth. When you can succeed in many directions, choosing one feels like losing others. And that creates hesitation, not confusion, depth. Now let's go deeper. Because this is where it gets real. Sometimes, this ability to adapt comes from a hidden belief. A quiet one. If I become what is needed, I will be valued. So she becomes reliable, flexible, capable. She becomes the person everyone depends on. And yes, it brings success. But it also brings pressure. Because now, she feels like she always has to live up to that image. I can't fail. I can't slow down. I can't choose wrong. Because her identity is built on being able to handle anything. And that's exhausting, even if she doesn't say it. Here's the twist most people miss. Her problem is not lack of ability. It's lack of permission. Permission to choose one path, without feeling like she's wasting others. Permission to stay, without feeling like she should keep moving. Permission to be, without constantly becoming. Pause. Just sit with that for a moment. What if you didn't have to keep proving your versatility? What if you didn't have to explore every path, just because you could? What if choosing one thing wasn't a limitation, but a form of freedom? Because here's the shift, a powerful one. The girl who can work in multiple professions doesn't need more options. She needs clarity, not about what she can do, but about what she wants to commit to. And commitment is scary, because it feels like closing doors. But in reality, it's opening depth. It's saying, I'm not choosing this because it's the only thing I can do. I'm choosing this, even though I can do many things. And that's power, real power. Once she understands this, everything changes. She stops chasing variety for validation. She starts choosing based on alignment. Work becomes less about proving and more about expressing. Her energy shifts from scattered to focused, from restless to grounded. And here's something important. If you see yourself in her, you're not confused. You're capable. You're not inconsistent. You're adaptable. But now, it's time to evolve. Because the next level of growth is not learning more skills. It's learning yourself. Deeply, honestly, without filters. Ask yourself questions most people avoid. What feels natural to me, even without reward? What kind of problems do I actually enjoy solving? What version of me feels the most real, not the most impressive? And take your time, because answers like these don't come from thinking. They come from listening. Here's the truth. Your ability to work in multiple professions is not your final form. It's your foundation. The real journey is choosing where to build. So don't rush. Don't panic. And don't let people label your journey as confusion. They don't see what you've built inside. They don't understand the depth of your adaptability. But you do. And now, you understand something even more important. You don't need to keep proving you can be everything. You already know that. Now, it's about deciding what actually matters. Because in the end, the girl who can work in multiple professions doesn't become powerful because she can do everything. She becomes powerful the moment she stops trying to be everything and finally chooses something that feels like home. And when she does, she doesn't lose her versatility. She refines it. She directs it. She owns it. And that's when her life stops feeling like a constant search and starts feeling like a meaningful path. So if you've been feeling restless, if you've been moving from one thing to another, if you've been quietly wondering, why can't I just pick one? Maybe the answer isn't pressure. Maybe it's permission. Permission to choose. Permission to stay. Permission to be. Because your story was never about doing everything. It was about discovering what's worth everything you have. And once you find that, everything else finally makes sense. Thanks for watching. Like, share and comment your favorite part below. See you in the next video.